The conference room smelled of expensive perfume and ambition. Suits and ties, polished shoes tapping against the floor, the sound of whispered strategies. This was the empire my wife's sister ruled. She was the CEO, the untouchable queen of the company I had worked my soul into for years. I had never asked for special treatment. In fact, I went out of my way to prove I wasn't just the husband's brother-in-law. I was an engineer, one of the few who stayed late to fix broken systems when everyone else had gone home. My fingerprints were on every major project that company had launched in the past 5 years. But none of that mattered the day arrogance trumped merit. Her voice sliced through the boardroom like a blade. "You have 10 minutes to clean up your things." At first, I thought I'd misheard. Surely this wasn't happening in front of directors, managers, and engineers. Surely she wouldn't humiliate me so publicly. But her eyes were cold. Her lips curled with satisfaction. She wanted the spectacle. She wanted everyone to see me fall. My wife sat in the corner, silent. She didn't offend me. She didn't even flinch. That silence told me more than words ever could. I stood there, my heart pounding. I could feel the weight of every stare in the room. Some pitied me. Others smirked. And my wife's sister, the CEO, leaned back in her chair like a conqueror, certain she had destroyed me. I took a breath, forcing myself not to let anger choke me. Then I did something no one expected. I smiled. I gathered my notes, placed my pen carefully on the table, and said, "Thank you." Gasps rippled across the room. She arched an eyebrow, confused. I bowed my head slightly, not as a gesture of defeat, but of finality, and then I turned and walked toward the door. That's when it happened. One chair scraped back. Then another. I heard the footsteps before I saw the faces. 20 engineers, men and women I had mentored, trained, and stood beside, rose quietly and followed me out. No speeches, no anger, no theatrics. Just silent loyalty. One by one, they abandoned the empire she thought she controlled. The CEO laughed, a sharp, arrogant laugh that cracked like glass. She thought they'd come crawling back. She thought their silence meant obedience. But I knew the truth. Silence was its own kind of rebellion. That walk down the hallway, with 20 people behind me, was the moment I realized something powerful. They weren't following me just because I was good at my job. They were following me because I had treated them with respect, because I had never made them feel small, because I had led with humanity, not arrogance. It was ironic. My wife's sister thought firing me would break me. Instead, it broke her company. But the real betrayal wasn't hers. It was my wife's. That night, she came home with fury in her eyes. Not at her sister, for humiliating me, for ruining my career, but at me. "You embarrass her," she snapped. "You made a scene. You should have just taken it quietly." I stared at her, my chest tight. "You sat there and said nothing." I whispered. "Your sister fired me like I was trash, and you let her." Her lips trembled, but her eyes stayed hard. "She's right," she said finally. "You don't belong there. You're not on her level. You never were." Those words were worse than the firing, worse than the humiliation, because they weren't her sister's. They were hers. My wife, the woman who once promised to stand by me, had always believed I was beneath her world. I laughed again, the same way I had in that boardroom. Not because it was funny, but because I finally saw the truth. The firing was never about performance. It was about control. It was about stripping me of dignity until I was too small to fight back. And my wife had chosen her sister's empire over our marriage. So I left. I left the company. I left the house. I left a woman who thought my worth was measured in titles and salaries. And I didn't leave empty-handed. 20 engineers, some of the brightest minds in the industry, chose me. Together, we started something new. Something built not on arrogance, but on respect. Months later, I heard through whispers that her company was crumbling. Projects delayed. Talent gone. Investors pulling out. All the money in the world couldn't buy loyalty once it was betrayed. As for my wife, she called once, then twice. Her messages shifted from anger to regret, from insults to pleas. But by then I understood, love without respect is just a pendency in disguise. The day she stood by while her sister destroyed me. She destroyed us too, and I had nothing left to give. I may have walked away with nothing but a smile, but that smile was stronger than her laughter, because dignity can't be fired, respect can't be stripped, and loyalty, the kind 20 engineers showed me that day, can't be bought with power. In the end, her arrogance cost her everything, and my laughter gave me freedom.